Ultron envisions body because he's now adapted. Just use the Mind Stone to like literally rip Thanos in half, destroy the Infinity Gauntlet like it was a piece of like really weak metal, and take all the Infinity Stones. Just become a living Infinity Gauntlet.
He's the most powerful being
in the universe. Hey guys, and welcome back to Fortune Theory for another bonus episode of What If. So we got our next episode this week, just before our finale, episode 9 next week. Oh. And okay. I actually really, yeah.
By the way,
I actually really love. No, we're just gonna carry on.
Brilliant. Okay.
I loved this episode. I really did actually.
You did love it. Yeah.
Surprisingly based off its position.
It's hideous.
I loved this episode. It was great to see it come back for Ultron finally, properly.
It was one of the more.
Although James Spader didn't voice him. So.
No.
Yeah.
No. Like, finally.
Although the guy did sound very similar. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're able to do that. Like Tony Stark, like Mike
Wiggett, I think is it? Mike Wiggett. Mick Wiggett. He's like not famous, but he's famous for like a small audience for like doing. I think I mentioned this in another episode. He did like animated voices for other characters. Like I know he did Poe in the Kung Fu Panda TV show, and he did other side voices in that show. And he's done voices in SpongeBob. He's done voices in like all like Nickelodeon sort of like TV shows, like the DreamWorks TV shows. Over the last like 10 years, he's been like hugely known for doing all those sorts of voices. So I wouldn't surprise me if he did voices in the Avatar shows as well. Whatever it's called, Last Airbender stuff. Is that right? I don't know. I keep getting that mixed up. I don't know if it's the same thing or not. Yeah. Avatar, Last Airbender.
I have no idea, but
I don't know. Just those sorts.
I trust you on your name.
Those sorts of names and that shit. I don't know. I haven't watched Avatar.
But what I was saying is like they were able to like.
They get the voice actors.
Tony Stark in this. He like if you almost
he makes himself purposely sound like Robert Downey Jr.
He's got the same like tone to the end of a sentence, the way like Robert Downey Jr. says it and that type of thing.
Same accent and things, yeah. Like
works really well.
Gotta talk slowly. Just have you seen that? The guy who does the impression of Robert Downey Jr. Nigga really like 10 times fast at the end of the sentence. But no, this guy who did the voice of Ultron sounded like James Spader, even though it wasn't him, which pissed me off. The fact that they got to interact with Thanos, we got to see Thanos walk out the portal, was
for like cool. half a second.
For like half a second. Fascinating. Rips him in half.
Fascinating.
Slice him in half. All I thought of was the fucking, I can't remember what show it was from, but there was like a dome. I watched a video on it on TikTok. There's this like dome that came down. And it like split this cow in half. That's what I thought.
Oh yeah, that's called dome. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. This dome just came down and split this like. Sorry, there's a bit of rope. Split this like cow in.
That's no context. You're in your room and it's just on the court. Sorry, rope. It's like, what, you Indiana Jones or some shit or something?
I just no, it's because I was.
It would be different if it was like a sock or a cable, but a fucking rope.
Sorry, it's not even a rope. It's a bit of thread from It's a bit of thread from a pillow, but it looks like a rope. I got rid of that.
I'm clipping that because it's perfectly. Oh, sorry, rope. It's like me going, oh, sorry, anchor. Like. Anyway.
Sorry, Lego figure.
I'd be more realistic in your room.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic. So where were we?
It's because I looked at the floor. And I saw it, and it distracted me as I was talking.
That's brilliant.
Oh,
where were we?
Yeah.
Well, wherever we were, spoiler, because it's like if you haven't watched What If.
No, he ripped. Yeah, he ripped. The dome ripped the cow in half, like Ultron. Yeah. Ultron envisions body because he's now adapted. Just use the Mind Stone to like literally rip Thanos in half,
Yeah.
From his balls upwards, which was fucking great.
And then steal the Mind Stones.
Then steal all the destroy the Infinity Gauntlet, like it was, a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Like it was a piece of like really weak metal, even though it had been forged by like, the dwarves of the Nidavellir, and take all the Infinity Stones and just become a living Infinity Gauntlet.
He is
living
he's now a living Infinity, and then like seeing him now fight the Watcher as well. He's literally like he's the most powerful being
in the universe,
in the multiverse now, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Because he's smashed out of that universe. Now seen and now smashed out of you saw the Watcher smashed out of that universe. Now fighting the Watcher.
I wonder if they're gonna do like what they did in Endgame with Nebula, where Nebula traveled like back in from 2023 to 2014, and her network connected with her 2014 self. I wonder if that's gonna I wonder if that's like how he's gonna evolve further, because he's gonna connect to the networks of himself in the 2015 timelines of each multiverse reality that he travels to.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then instead of them like competing with each other, he destroys like the main body, and then just hooks his all the wiring, whatever, the remote access. He gets remote access basically to all the bots, the sentry bots. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
I like the return of Arnim Zola in this. Toby Jones came back to voice him as well. That was interesting. I don't know why. All I could think of was you when I watched that. He just reminds me of the actor. Just reminds me of you. I don't know why. Just put a hat on you. Just put a hat on you and start doing something in a classic era. No. Like it has to be It has to be like a bowler hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then just start talking in his voice, which you pretty much do anyway, because you've got the teeth for it. I'm joking. I'm joking. Brilliant. I love you, really. Yeah.
Well, this episode was
seeing a green version of Ultron though was kind of cool. Yeah, like almost like neon green, if that's such a color. This lime green kind of color. The fact they shot off his legs was quite funny as well. It's just got Black Widow carrying.
Why would you do that?
One thing that really confused me though was and I saw this in the trailers and promotional art as well, and I didn't think I didn't know where she was going to come into this. Black Widow, as in this version of her. But she had Red Guardian's shield. And Red Guardian is chronologically in the timeline, he's a Phase 3 character that obviously we don't see him until Black Widow in Phase 4. And they said that they're not going to do anything Phase 4 related in What If until Season 2. So the fact that they included his shield, I suppose it was relevant for the inclusion of Black Widow, but I don't know why they didn't do that, why they did do that, but it makes sense, I suppose. I don't have an issue with it. It's just, it's the fact that they came out and said that they weren't going to do anything, and then they did that. So I suppose it's not a big detail. And to be fair, like we've had knowledge of the film, probably one of the first projects announced for Phase 4. And they knew everything they were going to do with it anyway, I think. So they got the shield pretty much mostly right in the film for Red Guardian anyway. So like, I suppose they had it all ready. It's only one detail, isn't it? Really, they don't really mention it in dialogue either.
Go over every single one. Unless they have, unless they want it specifically for any reason. But
yeah.
As long as they want.
No, that was pretty cool though. It was great to see the Watcher in fucking action as well. Like once he suited up his own armor and just started fighting Ultron in the desert, I was just like, let's fucking go. Like it was so fucking great. I was like, the first thing I think to myself when I see those little things is I had the same mindset I had when I saw Wanda finally suit up in her suit at the end of WandaVision, and Falcon is suited up as Captain America. Was bring on the fucking action figures, bring on the Lego figures, because I want to see Ultron's obvious, it's going to be made at some point, it hasn't been already. But then like the Watcher in this awesome like golden like Titan like armor, just battling out. The bit that got me as well when Ultron pinned him to the ground and just started like just fucking repeatedly smacking him.
Just feel these realities.
just breaking through each reality. There's like 3 people stood there, then they become Wakandans, then they become Skrulls, and it's like,
Oh, it was brilliant. It was like,
I don't know if it was meant to be the same people, and in that reality they're this, and in that reality they're that, or
I imagine
it was just to be them traveling between locations within one reality or multiple. Guessing they have to separate the location because they couldn't just jump back to a version of that one location. They were just jumping into like different realities of like situations. Just imagine like for a glimpse second, like, you know, 2 beings from like external realities or areas in a reality just crush through your bedroom and just start like punching each other for like 5 seconds and then they leave. Just, what the fuck was that?
Oh, right. Just suddenly while we're talking.
you just shove the pizza aside. I think that's enough.
I just all of a sudden hear like just a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's exactly what it
just
would
look
be.
up and.
You're right.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. Oh. This episode was it's the first time we've gone outside.
You got a family, Phil. You imagine like, you know, those kind of conversations they have like really deep, like during fights sometimes. Like they don't always talk during fights, but it's like obviously the whole Falcon thing of like, you know, you've not been in a fight before. If you've not been in a fight before, there's usually not this much talking. But like Ultron loves to dialogue, and like when they were in the like when they were in one of the multiverse realities when they were in New York, he said like he was having this whole like dialogue about like how, you know, oh, do you prefer like actually participating rather than just watching now? I suppose it's less creepy on your part. Like imagine them just breaking through reality, and they're in like, you know, they're in like someone's bedroom, and there's like, you know, I suppose it's less creepy on your part. Smacks him through. It's like no context at all. All the people just made. No, not creepy at all. What was that about? No one says anything apart from Ultron. Just says that one line, punches someone through to another reality. Fuck is all this?
Oh god, it was brilliant that fight.
But no, it's just like you could like. I love this show because there's just so much you can do. It's endless.
It's just
it doesn't need to make sense. It's like Black Mirror.
Like
it doesn't need to make sense.
Really to it.
It's like Black Mirror. It just doesn't need to make sense at all. There's no canon between each episode.
It just, but it's, you know,
like so much. It just, well, not timeline canon anyway, but like obviously it's all canon to the MCU through its multiverse.
Anything goes, anything can happen.
Yeah.
With each universe.
Anything could happen. Anything could.
And on that note, we end up.
Well, you said anything goes as well, so I could sing that musical number.
Brilliant.
Anything goes.
Before you get a fucking copyright strike.
Yeah, exactly. So shut up.
So this is the first episode we've been outside of the universe that we're telling the Watchers telling that story in.
Well, I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel like a universe or like any. It doesn't feel like any universe within the multiverse or anything. It's just like this sort of like. It's like the TVA. It's like this sort of like separate realm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that sort of crystal. It's like this crystal palace of like infinite abyss, and he's just like halfway down it, just like stalking realities. Like
because it's the weird like outer realm of like.
It's not a branch reality. It's not an area. It's not a multiverse area or anything like that. It's just a place in existence of all of the whole multiverse. It's so hard to describe. I think like you can get a better understanding of it in your head.
Uncomprehendable because it just looks like two pathways between two universes. Like just like a hallway between two places.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the pathway between universes, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. Within the multiverse, it's like a maze it's like a pathway maze.
Yeah.
Even though it just looks like a fucking it looks like a fucking alleyway, but in the form of like two-sided crystals, black abyss, which is made colorful by the neon look of the like crystal entering universes. I suppose that makes sense for the whole theme intro with the shattered like glass, isn't it? Because that's what it's meant to be, like this crystal like glass.
Yeah.
Breaking into different realities and things. I suppose that's kind of good as well, because it's like the whole, the idea that the mirror, like when you look into a mirror, it's like that's another reality. So when you look in the mirror, the only things that are the same as to your realities when you look in that mirror. But then when you're away from that mirror, like you're doing one thing, your counterpart is doing it on the other side of that mirror is doing, it's doing something else perhaps, or just doing the same as you.
Yeah.
Perhaps. And that's just the way it is. Whenever, like the mirror dimension,
the
mirror
very
reality.
Comprehensible from you.
Yeah. God. That's a theory I've just created, I think. Well, I expect someone's probably beat me to it. But yeah, that's just what I came up with in my head.
But
anywho, I feel like we've talked more about the show in its context and intricacies than we have in any other episode. So
yeah, it's because we've actually got into details.
I suppose between 7 and 9 is useful for something, I suppose, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. We'll see you next week for, oh my God, a decent number episode. Reality. For part 2 of this, because this was basically a 2-parter. So what if Ultron Won was this episode? Linked in the description for you to access it if you've got Disney Plus. And we'll see you on Friday for we might actually see you before Friday.
There's 2 technically. Tomorrow,
No Time to
providing
Die.
Again in the UK there is a
No Time to Die comes out on Thursday here in the UK, so we can't talk about it. We can't watch it or talk about it until then. So we're going to go to the midnight tonight, as in like when it's so confusing to describe. That's like fucking.
It's just technically midnight.
The midnight that goes the midnight tonight
Wednesday.
as of Wednesday, the
it
29th
runs into
of September.
Thursday midnight.
Runs into Thursday, so we'll go to the midnight showing, and we'll probably be one of the first.
The current UK fuel shortage, like the 9 nearby, like fuel filling, like petrol stations actually have fuel. Which
this video is sponsored by Esso. Get some.
This is brilliant. This video is sponsored by Esso. Of all of the places you could choose, you choose Esso.
I'm going to say something completely irrelevant.
We'll be watching No Time to Die tonight, hopefully. Very last minute booking on my behalf because we already had another booking. But yeah.
This video is sponsored by HSBC. Pay it, don't buy for it.
And on that note, No Time to Die tonight, and then hopefully The Guilty, which comes out on October 1st on Friday night or Saturday. So
oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. There we go. There's a little sneak peek of the voiceover.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
We'll see you on tomorrow.
I gotta go. Right, time to have my sparkling lemonade.
Thanks, guys. Oh, fuck, what recorded?